Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Alistair Ulph, and I'm the director of the Sustainable Consumption Institute at the University of Manchester. I'd like to welcome you all to this Climate Week event that's been organised by the SCI on how we can influence consumer behaviour to make it more environmentally sustainable. I've got to do standard sort of business announcements. First of all, we're not expecting any fire alarm testing today, so if there is a fire alarm, it's for real. If you just stay here, people will come upstairs and show you out of the building. And for toilets, if you go out that way there and turn left, there are gents and ladies and disabled toilets out that way. Let me say a little bit, first of all, about the SCI before I introduce our speakers. The Sustainable Consumption Institute was established about 4 years ago with a very generous donation from Tesco. There are three main themes for our research. Firstly, how we can try and change consumer behaviour to make it more sustainable, and two of the researchers on that particular programme will be speaking here today. Our second major theme is how we can drive environmental innovation through the supply chain. Our third area of research is on climate change, modelling, mitigation and adaptation, with an emphasis on food, on transportation, particularly shipping and aviation. And we are in the process of recruiting some new researchers to a new area of research on ecosystem services, with particular emphasis on renewable energy and water resources. As well as conducting research, we also have a Centre for Doctoral Training, which currently has 25 doctoral PhD students on it, and some of those are attending the event here today. As well as trying to do world-class research at the SCI, we also think it's a key aspect of the SCI's work to try to engage with policymakers in business, government, NGOs, and so on, so we can have a dialogue with them about how we can try and change, particularly consumer behaviour, to make it more sustainable. And this Climate Week event is just one of the kind of events we run to try to have this dialogue. So we've got four speakers today from a range of different backgrounds, two from the SCI, one from Tesco, and one from the World Wildlife Foundation. So let me just briefly introduce our four speakers. The first speaker is Professor Jeff Beattie, who is Professor of Psychology at the University of Manchester and a Professorial Research Fellow at the SCI. And he's a leading researcher in the area of non-verbal communication. He has a very prolific academic profile, but he's also well known for his work in broadcasting. He's won numerous awards for his research, and recently, with support from the SCI, he published a book on why we are not saving the planet. David Evans is our second speaker, and he's a lecturer in sociology and a research fellow at the Sustainable Consumption Institute. And his work is related to that of a group of researchers in sociology, led by Alan Ward and Dale Southerton, looking at how consumer behaviour is embedded in routine practices, with particular applications to eco-innovation and sustainable food consumption. And he'll be talking about the work he's been doing recently on food waste, on which he's published a number of articles and has a forthcoming book. Helen Fleming is the Climate Change Director at Tesco, leading a team working across Tesco to see how they can achieve their very ambitious targets of aiming to be zero carbon by 2050. She has worked in the past in a range of government departments, in the Treasury, Cabinet Office, DTI, and so on a whole range of policy issues, including energy and the environment. And our fourth speaker is Owen Gibbons from the World Wildlife Foundation, and he's the executive advisor to the chief executive at WWF. He's worked there for 5 years, including 2 years where he worked in Switzerland in preparing their campaign prior to Copenhagen. Prior to joining WWF, he worked for Amnesty International, and before that at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and he has had a spell doing research at Chatham House. So as I say, our speakers come from a range of different organizations with different perspectives on how we can try to influence consumers to change their behavior to more sustainable lifestyles. So I'd now like to invite our first speaker, Jeff Beattie, to make his presentation. Jeff.